Welcome, everybody. Welcome.
Hey, Kristen.
What is going on, everybody? We're going to give
Hi,
it
Christian. Hi, everyone.
good. Welcome. Give everybody about another minute or two here before we get started. Before I begin, real quick, I want to make sure, can everybody here see the main screen breaking into Cyber GRC? Can everybody here see it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
All right, just going to double check this real quick. There it is. Ready? Do one more minute real quick, guys, before we begin. How's everybody doing so far? It's the middle of the week. We're off strong, off going to the next level, right? Right.
Oh yeah.
So while I get started real quick, of course, feel free you guys to ask really any questions. Raise your hand as I go through this part. For the ones that have already been here, welcome back. For all the new people, I want to welcome you guys here to our session where we have all these regular sessions really every single week from different speakers giving different insights. We hope you guys are getting a lot of value out of what we've been doing so far. We have a lot of growth coming this year. It's been a strong, amazing beginning of the year, and I hope you guys are doing the same thing for yourselves. But it's been, amazing so far, and I hope you guys get a lot of value out of this. This is basically what I see from my viewpoints and what my experiences have been in breaking into the market as far as compliance space, GRC space, audit space, whatever you want to call it. Of course, everybody here is going through their own phases, but really a lot of things that I have to say here is going to be literally from my experience, from my viewpoints, and from really what I've gone through so far in my career positions and really landing roles and landing opportunities and finding opportunities in this space. So really, this is going to be just my entire viewpoint. If you guys have any questions, like I said, feel free to ask, and we'll continue with the entire presentation. I look forward to seeing you guys grow, progress in your guys' journey as well. So ultimately, for the ones here who don't already know what GRC really is, governance, risk, and compliance, it is spoken about a lot and now recently in the past 2 to 3 years, I'm sure all you guys are aware here. GRC has really gotten a huge bump in the cybersecurity space, compliance space, risk management space. A lot of what cybersecurity was known at prior to COVID, before it really bumped up and it really improved or it really expanded in the industry now to be known what it is today is used to be known as hackers and SOC analysts, but now GRC and compliance and risk management is at the utmost. Really, a lot of companies are looking for a lot of the skill sets. And it's not just about governance, risk, and compliance. Ultimately, what does GRC do for companies? Establish processes and procedures, documentation, understanding risk management, understanding regulations and standards that every organization has to follow and abide by. I mean, really, it's literally how businesses manage their risks from the back end level. We basically, as GRC analysts, compliance people, auditors, what we do and what we're trying to achieve for companies is prevent stuff from happening. We review documentation, review policies, understand the business processes, understand procedures and what everybody's role and responsibilities are. We work alongside the penetration testers, the ones that are actively seeking to break into organizations' weaknesses, processes, technologies, tools. We work alongside the SOC analysts, the ones that do all the vulnerability managements, the ones that use a lot of these super technical tools. And we as compliance people, we do use a lot of these tools and resources to ensure the business aligns with everything that you guys see here for business resilience, customer and stakeholder trust, enhancing decisions, improving decisions, and optimizing the operational efficiency. It goes in so many levels, in so many ways, and GRC really means different things to different companies. What a GRC analyst and compliance person does for one company can be completely different from another company and what it needs. You might be doing one thing for one company, and then you might be doing a whole another thing as far as a GRC analyst for another organization. We're really just understanding your role, your responsibility, what you have to offer to the organizations that you want to work for and be a part of. Really, it's going to set you apart. Not just memorizing, not just really going through the flow and understanding GRC on a high level, but really understanding what does GRC do for companies and organizations nowadays. Next thing, one of the biggest things that I've experienced and seen really in my experience and really just elevating my career and really anybody else that I see break into the space and get into the space, your biggest bet, you guys, and everybody here already knows it. You guys found our community on LinkedIn, maybe on our YouTube. You guys found our school community. Things like that. Networking is going to be your biggest opportunities to land new roles and find opportunities that you don't even realize. The mass applying to roles nowadays doesn't work as well as it used to. Not saying it 100% doesn't work, but really networking, building relationships, being a thought leader, being somebody that has skills and value to the organization. You guys, I'm sure everybody here has seen some of my stuff, some of our CyberGuard people's stuff. You guys found us through something that you guys saw that resonated with you in the industry. Maybe it gave you some type of guidance, some type of open your mind up to something that you were unaware of. It really just networking on some of these resources is going to help you out significantly. You have to continuously work on building your skill sets, of course. You got to be ready for the opportunity when it comes your way. But literally, just by knowing something, but also knowing someone that gives you the opportunity that you're seeking can make all the difference in the world. Remember, it's not just about the certifications and the degrees and just mass applying to roles. Hope and wish for the best. Make yourself be a thought leader. Because one thing I've realized is when you're, say, applying for a role and you're a potential candidate for an opportunity, I'll tell you this reality, these hiring managers, these recruiters, they're going to look you up on LinkedIn. They're going to look you up on social media if you have a social media presence. And if you have a super professional LinkedIn profile that looks like you're actively, engaged in a community, you have skills that you have value, somebody that's really has a professional profile and sets himself apart from everybody else is going to make all the difference really in your career long term. I've had to happen to myself where I've been told, hey, we found you on LinkedIn, we found your social media or whatever, and you really look like you're somebody that's really engaged, that's really active in it. People don't realize that now in the world of social media, whether you like it or not, you got to have yourself be somebody that is building themselves up and networking actively, regularly. Any questions so far? And like I mentioned to you guys before, networking, but also building a personal brand, sharing learning experiences, insights, writing posts or articles on LinkedIn, creating video content about GRC topics or compliance topics, engaging in cybersecurity communities, discussions, and networking really goes alongside the networking side. If you're known for something, if you have a brand of some sort, every single person here in this podcast, in this Zoom meeting, in this session, you guys all have your own personal brands. You guys are somebody that is not replicatable. Whatever you have to give to the world, whatever you showcase as far as value that only you can do and somebody else can't copy, that is your personal brand. So you are basically selling yourself, your skill sets, your value, your services to the organizations that you want to be a part of. And like I mentioned to you guys before, is a lot of you guys found me, found our profile on LinkedIn or on social media of some sort or YouTube. We're on really a lot of the platforms. And I realized the power of building a personal brand means so much. Not just about applying for a role and landing a job or an opportunity. That's great and all. But if you set yourself apart and you build your personal brand, you take promoting yourself seriously, you take putting yourself out there on LinkedIn seriously, being somebody that has an expertise in something in the GRC space. You guys all have an expertise in something. You guys know something. You guys have a voice of some sort that somebody else doesn't really have or know. But you guys got to believe in yourself and build that for yourself because really it makes all the difference. I think somebody had a question or a comment. Yeah, Kay, you found us on LinkedIn looking for GRC people in the field. Yeah, like I mentioned to you guys before, it's all about networking, building your brand. Now at this point in my career, now I get opportunities kind of come my way, really. I don't really apply or mass apply to roles anymore. It's not really worth my time anymore because like I mentioned to you guys before, yeah, it does work. Yeah, I'm not going to say it's not going to work 100% of the time, but really building yourself as a thought leader and having relationships, knowing somebody, networking, and really taking your personal brand seriously is going to make all the difference. The ones that do this have the opportunities come to them, and it is possible. Now, it's not going to be easy, but I'll tell you guys, it is possible, and you will see a change in your career and the opportunity that truly come your way by building your personal brand, kind of like what I've done for myself and any of you guys that have done that for yourself as well. It makes really all the difference, big time. I think Kay said, these days everyone looks the same in GRC. Let's see what are the unique aspects to differentiate someone from others. Yeah, you're right. Like I said, everybody is trying to get into the next level or elevate themselves. What really sets you apart? What makes you different? Kind of like when you're applying for a role, everybody supposedly has this GRC experience, compliance experience. They have certifications. Yeah, it's great and all. What makes you different? The branding aspect is going to set you apart from a lot of other individuals because a lot of people don't take the time and effort to build this because it does take work, it does take effort, it does take time. And I'm sure you guys have seen some of my stuff. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. I really got to plan stuff out, got to schedule stuff, I got to research. I do stuff that really works for me specifically. And that's what I'm able to give other people and advice, with GRC advice, compliance advice, applying, building your brand, things like that I find interesting in this space is what I promote and what I set out for other people to look at. Everybody else here has the same opportunities to do that for yourselves. You don't got it the way that I do it. You do it the way that's comfortable for you, that makes sense to you and your opportunities, and also the time that you have at your disposal. Because everybody here has different times We all have different availabilities, we have different responsibilities. But it's really just about, putting in the effort, putting your time to actually make it work for you, because it will make a difference in your career. Any questions so far? If I'm going too fast, let me know, guys. I want to make sure I keep you guys as engaged as possible. Really, it goes to say, the hands-on experience, it really matters so much more, really more than certifications and the degrees do nowadays, because if you don't have any applicable knowledge, no way to express your experience and value in a way that makes sense when you're in interviews, if you don't have the stories, how I like to say it, stories about your experience, resources, doing projects that are related to compliance, risk management, assessments, whatever you can think of, doing framework assessments that relate to frameworks, regulations, standards. Somebody had a question real quick. I'd like to know more about the California, Texas, West Virginia, focus on GRC space. Yeah, we'll talk about that here in a minute. Okay. But
I
yeah,
have another.
go
I
ahead.
have a question as well.
Go ahead.
Regarding last week's class, with when we spoke with Kip, did you recommend getting the Microsoft Azure for more so infrastructure for sharing those labs?
And have you already gotten your Security Plus, kind of like what he mentioned, like some basic certifications? Have you gotten those yet?
I take it in 2 weeks.
Yeah. That's one of the main ones we highly recommend people get, just to get the fundamentals.
Okay.
Really, labs, GRC labs, just like you guys can do, like, IT labs and penetration testing labs, where you create your own lab to penetrate tools and whatever, and have applications downloaded. You guys can really do the same thing for GRC. It may not be as easy, but not just reading, documentation, not just looking at these regulations and standards, the NIST, the PCI, the SOC, all these regulations is great and all, but how can you actually do the work that applies to businesses and how businesses use these frameworks in their day-to-day operations? That is the biggest difference in when you're going to be asked in interviews. Talking about how you go about a risk assessment, how do you go about creating policies and procedures, how do you go about going through a compliance gap analysis. How are you going to explain that if you haven't done it in actual hands-on doing that actual work? That is the biggest difference, really. Just like Kay said, assessments, gap, maturity, compliance, risk assessments. Yeah, that's all great. Doing the actual hands-on work really sets you apart. It really shows that you're actually engaged, you're open to it, and you want it more. Continuous improvement, joining communities like you guys are here, participating in mentorship program, staying up to date in industry trends. I'll tell you guys, the reality is there's so many trends happening in cybersecurity all the time. We'll talk about the next steps and how not to overwhelm yourself in the next couple slides, but I got so many things to talk to you guys about, a lot of things. You guys have any
Thank you.
questions? Nope. No questions, Christopher?
Nope.
Ready. Controls, testing, design, and effectiveness. Yep, pretty much. Development of soft skills. This is also something that I got to tell you guys when you guys are going through interviews, is people don't realize this. Well, a lot of people I see don't really realize this. You guys are sold and told, get certifications, do labs, like I mentioned to you guys as well. Get involved with the standards and regulations and assessments, gap analysis. But really, communicating all this jargon, all this information is going to be the biggest thing that's going to set you apart. I'll tell you guys, really, in my experience, me communicating my experience, me having stories behind me and explaining my stories and background really set me apart from everybody else, because everybody here, you guys are all going to have to go through an interview of some sort. Remember that. If you guys cannot talk your experience, you stutter, you mumble, you have filler words, right off the bat, to them, it's going to tell them that you don't know what you're talking about. You may know what you're talking about. You may be able to do the work, completely. Just being realistic with you guys, you can. But if they don't see that in the interview, and you can't express your skill sets in a way that makes sense, where it builds confidence and you show you know what you're talking about. Remember, competence leads to confidence. So if you're competent within yourself, your confidence is going to showcase you know what you're talking about. So just a reality for you guys here is you guys got to go through an interview. Remember, I don't see people really studying much about interviews, practicing interviews, but they make the entire difference in you having the opportunities come your way and you making it past the first interview process. Because a lot of people go through interviews the first time around, but they don't get callbacks. Well, it's because you probably didn't explain your experience very well to the recruiter or to our hiring manager. You didn't show you were confident in your communication. You didn't really listen to the questions. You constantly kept on repeating yourself. You didn't give them any value. You didn't show any of your stories and background in a way that made sense to them. And that's really just the reality of it all, is if you guys cannot explain your experience, you guys do not practice the interview process, it's going to make a huge difference in your career, big time. Because remember, interviewing, communication, soft skills is a skill set all on its own, outside of the frameworks, outside of the certifications, and outside of the hands-on. All these things are tied in together. Don't skip any of these things because they all are a part of that circle that builds your experience and your background. See, are we going to talk about how to build a GRC strategy, multiple frameworks, and implement the GRC program? Yeah, we can talk a little bit about that on a high level. Like I said, there's a lot of information. I got a lot of slides, and we got a lot of things to talk about. But of course, we have a lot of other speakers coming on as well to you guys, for you guys to really understand, GRC and compliance, things like that. So we'll see what we can discuss towards the end of this call, and we'll give you guys some more information. Do you guys have any more questions for me before I move on to the next steps or the next slides? Next thing, remember, guys, is direction and avoiding constant distractions. I'm sure you guys are all aware that there's going to be a lot of information thrown at you guys. There's going to be so much certification, so many resources, Microsoft, Security Plus, ISACA certifications. There's going to be a lot of certifications and a lot of information thrown at you constantly in the cybersecurity space, in the IT audit space, compliance, GRC space. There's so much information, and a lot of it really is conflicting. And I'll tell you guys, information is not power unless it's applied in the right scenarios and circumstances that make sense for you specifically. Remember, what works for me and what I understand and what I apply in my day-to-day is going to be completely different than everybody here individually. What I understand, what I read, what I listen to, what I like, what I understand is completely different from everybody else here. So remember, you can keep on watching a bunch of videos, you can get a bunch of information, you can get a bunch of certifications, but remember, if it's not getting you to the next level, ignore the information, because there's going to be a lot of information thrown at you guys for like pen testing and SOC and technologies and resources and tools and AI. There's so much stuff out there, and it's never going to be ending. It's about you staying focused. If this is the field you want to be into, only listen to the information that applies to this field only, and get super good at this. Because remember, the riches are in the niches. You want to be the master of one, not the jack of all trades. Because I've seen people that do pen testing, do SOC, do GRC, do all this, do IT audit, do IT technologies. They have all this information. They know all this stuff about all these parts of the cybersecurity field, but they really can't tell me anything specifically about one. They find interest in everything. That's great and all. But if you can't tell me anything specifically about one of the fields that interests you, and you can't provide value to a company that you potentially want to work for, they're not going to hire you, because you're the jack of all trades. You know a bunch of stuff, you know a bunch of information. None of it applies to what we need in this industry, really. So remember, guys, there's always going to be information thrown at you. There's going to be new tools, new resources, new certifications, new videos, new trends, new AI. All this stuff's going to be thrown in your face constantly. It's about, hey, is GRC compliance, audit, and risk management the field you want to stay in the cybersecurity field? Focus on this and only this only. I don't listen to anything else. If I get all stuff thrown at me, I just ignore it, because it's just fluff. It's just information. And like I said, more information is not powerful unless it's applied in the right scenarios and circumstances that make sense for you and what you want long term. I mean, that's just the reality of it all. That's really my focus and what I do. And I'm focused on this space only. And I only try to learn the things that are applicable to this space and this space only. That's it. I ignore everything else. I listen to some advice from the people that are in the other sides of the industry. It's great, but I'm not interested in that. It's not gonna help me or benefit my career, my life, and what I want long term. So yeah, new threats too. Yep, new threats, new processes. Yeah, new information. Just really stay focused is my biggest advice to you guys. Really stay focused on what you want in this field. This is what you want. Stay focused on this. Learn what you got to learn in this. Even in this field, it's very there's a lot of information thrown at you constantly. Just make sure that you apply what you understand, what works for you, and keep moving forward step by step. Do you guys have any questions? Right.
I don't have any questions, but I want to tell you that you're right on it about everything that you're saying, because I'm seeing it right now. Yeah.
Once you start getting into the space more and more, you start to really get into this, you're going to be having more and more stuff thrown at you. And really, it can really overwhelm you, cause a lot of anxiety, and it can cause what I like to call the paralysis of analysis, where you have a bunch of information, but you don't know what to do with it all. And then you just feel like you just fall down, because now you have all this information in your head. You got information overload. If it doesn't make sense to you, if it doesn't apply to your career and what you want, I just ignore it. To be honest with you, it's just information to me. I can go about so many things in different fields of cybersecurity, but I'm not trying to be all of them. I want to be one, focus on one, get so good at one that now I understand this field top to bottom, or at least to the best of my knowledge, and I get opportunity because I understand this field, a lot, or at least for me, anyways. Yeah.
Question. Even the GRC, it's a vast field,
Yeah,
by the
like I
way.
said.
So
Yeah.
we need to focus exactly on what industry, what kind of geographical area. Because look, I've been into this field for 13 years, but internationally.
Yeah.
So if you look into it, there are millions of frameworks, man, all over the
Yeah.
world, especially in the US itself, a lot. So that's the thing. You cannot just look into ISO, NIST, CMMC, FedRAMP, all of these things. At the end of the day, all of them are almost the same, but we need to focus on one thing, and that's one of the problems.
Yeah, I mean, we had a speaker a while back. His name was Will Reed. He was right that literally, I mean, the majority of these frameworks, 80% of them, they all overlap. So they're all have a form of physical security. They all have a form of access control. They all have a form of encryption. They all have 80% relatable information. It's just maybe laid out in a different way. It's maybe in a different order. But I really just focus on the big ones: the NIST, the ISO, PCI, maybe SOC. I mean, that's really about it. And from there, there's so many more you can do. Like you mentioned, CMMC, FedRAMP, DFARS. There's so much. And also, you can go either in the government sector or go into the public sector. That's another thing too, where you're be doing more government type regulations and standards, or you can focus on the other ones. But really, just deciding what you want. Like I said earlier, GRC applies to different companies and different industries and different sectors, from the healthcare to transportation to finance, whatever industry you want to get in. Don't focus too much on that. Just focus on how your skill sets align to the company. Once you're in, you can kind of pivot how you want, because like you mentioned before, GRC is so vast as well. There's so much information. But yeah, just stay focused on where you want, what you want in the GRC space. Don't only listen to that and that only. Ignore everything else. Ignore all the other information that's fluff, if it doesn't apply to you, of course. Yeah. All right. One of the biggest things people really don't talk about is, hey, understanding, why do you want to do this? What's your why? Why are you doing this? It's also better to do things from a place of abundance and not desperation. We know that, life has struggles. We have things that we got to worry about, our finances, of course, just talk about the reality here. We want a better life for ourselves, a better career, better work environments, better whatever it may be, whatever your why is. We all have our own whys. Really understand what is GRC going to do for you, not just a financial aspect, but just, the career. Because remember, you got to get up every day and do this kind of work. It's just a reality. It is a stressful field. Not going to be sunshine and rainbows like what some people are, what we're sold to be online. It's great, it's lucrative, all this and that. I want to tell you guys the reality. It is stressful at times. Some days you're not going to feel like doing this kind of work because you got to look at documentation, policies. You got to be a part of audits and assessments. You got to work with different vendors. You got to be in going into different meetings with different department heads about an audit or assessment you're going through. I mean, there's so much information you get thrown at you, even when you're working in the field. It's just stressful. So you got to find your why. What is the reason you're getting up out of bed every single day to do this kind of work? It's just a reality. Life has its ups, life has its downs, in our personal lives and our careers. It's about, enjoying the ride up, really, and getting through the down times. And that's one thing I had to realize for myself is I got into the industry and I did different kind of work when I first got into this. And I was doing work I really didn't enjoy, and doing GRC for different companies, makes a difference. And it's just really about just figuring out, what is your why? Why do you want to do this? Or when you're in this field now, what's the next steps? What's going to keep on driving you throughout your career? Because there is a thing as burnout. I'm sure you guys are all aware of it. A lot of people that are in the cybersecurity field in general, in any field, we get burnt out over time. It's about, how can you keep on doing this over the long period of time so you don't burn yourself out? So you can have a long career, not just for a year or 2 years and you just burn out. We want to be able to do this long term. So that's really something that we really got to think about, the mindset thing. It's not talked about enough in the cybersecurity field, but I focus 100% on that. It's about my mindset, my mental state, what I want, what I'm doing long term. Why am I doing this? I don't want to do this just for the next year. I want to do this for the next 10 years if I can, and obviously I pivot as things go on. Yeah, it's super boring with loads of documentation. Yeah, I mean, GRC can be a little bit monotonous, repetitive documentation, attention to detail. But yeah, caregiver, hiring a caregiver. Yeah. I mean, it's just really any field has ups and downs. I mean, it's just the reality. Wherever you're in, transportation, finance, healthcare, cybersecurity, IT, whatever it is. I've even spoken to a lot of leaders and directors in the industry. They tell me they have their ups and their downs a lot, and they're just real with me. Like, yeah, I've had my downs, but I just pushed forward and I just made it happen no matter what. Yeah. Okay, well, we can talk about all this stuff, as we progress. I know you got a lot of specific questions about frameworks, but yeah, we'll go through all this. Really, next is the effective job search. Remembering is apply with strategy. I don't know if you guys were here for last week's session with Kit Boyle, but really the mass applying to roles, you just throw all your resumes out to 20, 30 roles a day if you can and hope for the best is not really an effective strategy. I do give advice, tailoring your experience, of course. Really, I try to keep one main primary resume as far as my experience and how it relates to a lot of the roles that I'm trying to, be a part of, or the companies I'm trying to be a part of. If you're trying to get, land a new role or whatever. Also, another thing too is not really being desperate. Walk around. I was told this advice before I followed this mentor is walk around like you have $1 million in your pocket, because you basically are not going to be desperate. The worst thing that you can do in really applying to roles and finding new opportunities is being desperate. Like I mentioned to you guys before, we know we got responsibilities. We know we got to pay the bills sometimes, but you don't want to be desperate. The companies you want to be a part of, make sure that you're aligned to them, but they're also aligned to you when you guys are seeking to level your career up, really. Yeah, you should recall from TikTok. Yeah. I mean, opportunities come really everywhere. Like I mentioned to you guys before, is putting yourself out there. Connecting with different people, you're going to find opportunities where you least expect, and you just got to keep on going and moving forward. But like I said before, building your brand is the biggest thing that's going to help you guys out long term. Really, networking are the two biggest things right off the bat. You don't want to mass apply to a bunch of companies and hope for the best. That is not a strategy. Maybe it used to work back then, but nowadays it is super competitive. And I'll tell you guys right off the bat, when you guys are applying for roles or you guys going through interviews, you're going to be competing with other people as well. You're not the only one for this role. So like I said before earlier, you guys, what sets you apart? Everybody, all these people have certifications. They all have experience. They may have a college degree maybe, but what makes you different from everybody else you're competing with? I think about that when I'm going through the interviews. What is going to make me different in the interview? How my communication and soft skills? Okay, yeah, they have my resume. They're seeing my experience. They're seeing the certifications or whatever. But how am I going to set myself apart from everybody else that wants the same opportunity, the same role that I want, And like I said, you guys, I'm not desperate. I really just try to really put myself as a leader, as a thought leader, like I believe that I am. I have that mindset. I'm driven, and I know I want better for myself. And if in the end it doesn't align to me, that's okay. On to the next one. I'm not going to be there desperate, hoping, wishing, and praying I get this role, because it may not align for you. I see people that land roles. They're like, man, I don't like this opportunity right now. The role really doesn't align to me. It's not really what I thought it was. And I really, I'm not saying that they regret having the opportunity, but sometimes people don't think about it from both directions. You got to align to the role. They got to align to you too as well. And that's where a lot of these things kind of come together. The mass applying to roles doesn't really work as well as it used to. And I'm not saying that it doesn't work at all, but it's not a consistent strategy in my opinion. That's why putting yourself out there is going to be the biggest opportunity and the biggest difference for you in the world of social media that we live in now. Pretty much that sets you apart. Any questions so far, guys? Yeah, like I mentioned to you guys before earlier, is preparing for interviews. It isn't really spoken as much. The interview process. I wanted to tell you guys here is you're going to have to go through interviews. You're going to have stories. You got to build your confidence. You got to avoid the overthinking process. Doing mock interviews, people that are closest to you and your network is the biggest thing that's going to help you guys out. Really, set time aside for this, because the interview and soft skills part is just as important as everything else that you're learning, as all the certifications you're getting, as all the hands-on projects you're getting, as all the communities you're being a part of. Really set time apart and make this literally your priority, because you can have all the certifications in the world, you can be certified, you can have degrees, but if you can't communicate your experience in the end, I'll tell you off the bat, the opportunity kind of falls through the cracks. Basically, they go to somebody else who can do this. Understanding the company industry. And the last thing I gotta tell everybody: stop memorizing the job descriptions. It's just a high level that HR does for companies and recruiters have, but just tell you guys the truth is, whenever I go through interviews, or I go through plenty of interviews, I just literally just glance at the job description, and that's it. I go on a high level where I understand my experience, my background, my stories, and we basically communicate with the hiring manager and recruiters on what they're expecting out of this role. That is literally what I got to tell you guys. I do not look at job descriptions. I don't memorize them. I don't memorize frameworks. It's about, for me, my experience, how this industry GRC compliance applies to business, how I can communicate that to the recruiter and hiring managers. They're the ones that are going to tell you exactly what they need as far as experience in this role. The mistake I see people make is they memorize, they try to go for all the job descriptions, the frameworks, and all this and that, but they're not able to really explain what the questions are being asked in the interview process. Also, you got a question, Kay? What are the highest demand GRC skills and frameworks in the States? Companies highest demand. Yeah, the most common ones right now are the ISO 27001, the NIST CSF, PCI DSS, really, and occasionally a SOC 2. These are the main ones right now that I'm seeing the most common. Obviously, there's the regulations for government, like the NIST 800-53, NIST 800-171, CMMC. That's more for the government sectors. But right now, the ISO 27001, NIST CSF, PCI DSS, and SOC occasionally are the major frameworks that are being used right now regularly by a lot of companies. Now, I'll tell you guys this as well, is you're never really going to be asked anything specifically about a framework. It is just, how is a framework used to secure the information, the assets, data, and people? Protect information, assets, people, and data. How is PCI DSS? How is the NIST framework? How is the ISO 27001 framework going to be used, or regulation, whatever, going to be used in a business, in a company as a whole? So people that they're talking about controls, specific requirements, you're making the mistake because you're just talking on specific controls and requirements. I'll tell you guys right off the bat, these hiring managers and recruiters that have been in the industry for a long time, or hiring managers specifically, they don't even know the requirements or the controls and procedures. They go and they read it, or they just follow it, or they Google it, or they find it on the website and they find what it is. They don't even know it as well. So how they expect you to memorize it? You want to be the one that understands the business, understands the processes, understands your stories, understands your experience, and is able to express that in a way that sets you apart from everybody else. Because right here, what you guys are seeing me do, people don't do this. They lack the confidence, and then in the end, it basically shows that you're not competent. Now, you may be a very good worker. You may be able to do the work. You might be an excellent worker, or this role may align to you 100%. But if you can't talk your experience in that interview, it is not going to set you apart. You're going to be just like everybody else, sadly. And this is what I try to really harp on with people. Is this what set me apart? This is what I've seen people that we've helped out as well, land roles, do the same thing for themselves as well. And that's just the biggest thing. And also the last thing is really just not overthinking it. It takes practice. It takes time. But even if you mess up your first interview, it doesn't matter. Keep on going. Second interview, it doesn't matter. Keep on going. Understand what you did wrong in each interview. Fix it every time so that when you go to the interviews, you know how to do it more and more. It's like a skill set, like anything else. The more you do it, the better you get at it. The less anxiety, the less overthinking happens. So you just do it without even thinking about it anymore. That's the level you guys got to get to. Yeah. Any other questions, guys? And if I'm going too fast, just let me know. I want to make sure you guys are engaged. I want to be able to give you guys much feedback on just really my opinion, what I've gone through the industry, transitioning, landing roles, things like that.
Actually, I think you are very on point, and you might feel that you're going fast, but I'm under the impression that everyone here probably have some sort of professional experience, right? Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, everybody here.
So probably your speed probably fine, but I'm really enjoying what you're saying about the importance and relevance of, really getting not just like to be afraid because you lack the confidence, so because you probably don't have experience, and that how that will be reflected on an interview. So the importance of practicing the interview and being able to get some hands-on experience, that's very helpful. And also the importance of how we can create our personal brands by engaging more on LinkedIn and social media. So this is what I'm getting so far from this, and I liking it so far. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, just like what you guys before, everybody here saw our posts, our company posts from me or one of our other speakers. We got a lot of leaders coming on, and they all have their own personal brand. Kit Boyle from last week, if you guys were on it, he has his own personal brand. Our speaker next week, you guys are gonna like him. He's very big in the community. It's gonna be a little bit of a surprise. We got a big speaker coming on next week. He's a huge, I won't say influencer, but he's really somebody that's huge in the cybersecurity space. And he understands this industry and he's got his own perspective, but he has his own personal brand. And I'm sure now he really has, opportunities coming his way from different aspects and perspectives, but really it just sets you guys apart. Somebody that has a brand, that has a community, has value to give, is going to set themselves apart from somebody that doesn't. Like, that's just the reality of it. But not to hurt you guys' feelings, but really the world of social media, you got to put yourself out there. It's not about just what you know, it's who you know as well. Like I said, join cyber communities. You guys are here, part of our school community, CyberGuard school community, workshops, hands-on projects, really just joining communities and taking information that is valuable to you, specifically to your situation, your circumstance, and that makes sense to you specifically is going to be your biggest leg up. Because, like I said, you can go far by yourself, but you'll go even farther in a community, in a network, and people that are in the same situation as you are, or are learning at the same rate you are. You guys can help each other out. Because I remember when I was really getting into the space as well, I realized I couldn't do anything by myself. I thought I could do it by myself, but I realized I've been able to get so much further in my career, in my life, by building relationships, by having the right people around me that have the right mindset and are really going at the same pace that I am. I mean, it really makes a difference in your career, big time. Hold on, Cesar, I got a question with Kay. How do cold outreach to hiring managers to land interviews? I'll tell you guys right off the bat, sometimes, well, my experience, I don't do any cold outreaches to hiring managers. What I've done in the past is potentially do outreach to recruiters that have the roles, because they're going to be the front line people right off the bat. And like I mentioned to you guys, is you don't want to be messaging, the hiring managers for the roles, because I'm not saying it makes you desperate, but in a way, it does make you a little bit desperate, because, hey, I'm just reaching out to this role. Hey, this opportunity I saw is open. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying it's not going to work, but from my experience, reaching out to recruiters that have the roles that are available for the opportunities you guys want is the biggest bet first, because they're going to be the frontline people first that are going to, I don't want to say BS test you, but they're going to basically BS test you guys first to make sure that you are a right fit for the role, and the hiring managers don't waste their time. I'm not saying anything bad, but recruiters are your biggest cold outreach opportunities. Caesar, you got a question?
No, it's just a statement. This is basically what you're saying. You go fast by yourself and you go farther as a team.
Yeah, it's a reality. And like I mentioned to you guys, if you guys have a brand, if you guys post content, create content, make yourself noticeable to the industry for your skill set. Everybody here has a skill set. You guys all have your own experience. You guys all have something to talk about that sets you apart. When you set yourself apart, eventually the opportunities will come to you. You never know who you might talk to. You never know who's going to see your content. Every single time you post content is an opportunity for somebody to see your work. I've gotten followers from directors and CISOs and leaders in the space. And now by me just posting my content and putting myself out there, that's a potential opportunity for a new role, maybe. You never know. And I've done that for myself. Everybody here can do the same thing, as well. I know it's a little bit intimidating when you're first starting it, because you don't know how to do it just yet, but you just got to start. You're never going to have it all figured out 100% of the time. You just got to go and just do it. Start halfway. Use ChatGPT or use an AI service to help you create content on LinkedIn. Create a post, once a week to start off. Eventually, you can do it 3 times a week if you guys can handle it. Because I know everybody here works or whatever. I try to do it at least 5 times a week, Monday to Friday, consistently. Try to. It's hard, but I just do it. Set time aside to just do it, make it happen. But everybody here has their own perspectives. But like I said, you guys have your own brand. You guys are all individuals that have your own value and your own voice. You guys all here have the opportunities for you. You guys got to go out there and make it happen. And also never really settle. Even if you're in a role and opportunity that you guys like, maybe you guys like it for a little while. Hey, you never know. Something else better may come your way, but never close yourself off, like I said. And like what Caesar said, you can go far alone, but you can go even farther in a community. And you never know who you might know that might give you the opportunity that you thought you didn't deserve. But hey, you met this person, you were at the right place at the right time, and they came to you. You didn't have to go and mass apply the roles. You know, that's the biggest difference. Your next step, break into cyber GRC space. You know, major achievements and dates, future goals, timelines, and deliverables and milestones. Really, just have achievement dates. Set a time frame or a timeline. You guys want to get a new certification? I'm gonna set some time aside every single week to study for the certification, and within 2 months, I'm gonna get the certification. That's an achievement date. Hey, you got a certification on this date. Hey, nothing wrong with sharing that. Or hey, I found or I met network with somebody else that gave me this opportunity. Share that achievement. Share that this course you completed, this project, these hands-on projects you achieved. Future goals and timelines. It's good to have timelines on stuff because it pushes you to do it, even though you don't want to do it. Because we can all have, timelines. We say, yeah, we're going to do something.
It makes it real.
If you don't set a timeline and that goal, it ultimately just becomes a dream. And really, ideas that are just dreams cause anxiety. Like this is from my experience. I have these things that I need to accomplish this week, but I'll do it tomorrow when I feel like it. I'll do it next week. I'll get to it when I feel like it. And the reality is you're never going to feel like doing anything. That's just a reality. We're creatures of habit. We're creatures of comfort. And we fall back to what's comfortable and familiar, even though it's not good for us. So to set goals and timelines to do things that you want to accomplish, you want to finish this college degree, you want to start an associate, you want to get another certification. Oh, you need to start creating content. Whatever it may be, you want to build this network, you want to build go on these communities. Set a timeline and a goal for you to accomplish them, because then in the end, they constantly keep getting pushed back, and life is always going to get in the way. I mean, it's a reality. We all have different responsibilities. Some of us may have kids, we might be in relationships, things like that. Dreams become reality. You're broken down into goals and daily actions that lead you to the outcome and your vision. Yeah, don't just focus on that end goal. Focus on day by day habits and tasks that are going to get you to that end goal in the end. That's how you're going to do it. Whether you're getting certification, whether you're learning a new skill set, whether you're joining another cyber community, whatever it may be, whatever you want. Yeah. GRC certs, I mean, there's so many certifications. Like I said, if you guys are more in the field already and you've been in the field, obviously, some of the certifications from ISACA, I'm not sure if you guys know who ISACA is, the CISA, CISM, C-RISC, these are a little bit more, obviously a little bit more experience-based, but I think Kevin, you said you were in the industry for like 13 years already. So certifications for the audit-based GRC space would be the CISA, CISM, C-RISC, the CGRC. I've never heard of that one before. Obviously, the more entry-level one would be Security Plus, of course, where we tell everybody, if you don't really have much technical background just yet, get the Security Plus certification. You're going to get a lot of the security fundamentals and some basic networking fundamentals right off the bat.
That's the new IC Square, the CGRC. So you need 2 years for that.
Yeah. Obviously, the bigger one, of course, everybody here knows probably what it is or heard of it, the CISP, but that's one, if you already have some experience in it already, you can get that one. But yeah, IC Squared and the ISACA are the two big ones that I follow, and these are some certifications that they offer. Another one you guys may not have heard, I have these certifications. They're from the OSEG, Open Compliance Ethics Group. They're actually the ones that kind of came up with GRC back in like 2003, 2004, before GRC even came up. Before GRC was even what it is today. If you guys look it up, the OSEG, Open Compliance and Ethics Group, they have multiple certifications in that. You can get like 3 or 4 or 5 certifications for a couple $100, and it gives you a lot of fundamentals on GRC, compliance, and audit. OSEG, OSEG.com, OCEG.com. If you guys want to look at that, I got those certifications. They gave me a lot of insights, a lot of like little terminology about certain things in GRC that I kind of didn't really know, even though I was working in the industry, but it just gave me a lot of the book knowledge and theory that I didn't know just yet, that now what I'm able to do now. Like, for example, stakeholders, I didn't know what that word even meant until I took a certification, and I kind of knew a little bit more about it. Just little things that you guys don't even know, but that's one that I recommend. Anybody here can get. You don't need an experience. They're the ones that kind of came up with the GRC concepts back in like 2003, 2004, before GRC was what it is today. Yeah, they're not around type of GRC.
So,
They're more corporate level ones. Yeah, corporate level. Somebody had a question?
so should we get our companies when we do get our GRC role? Should we get our companies to pay for those certs?
Yeah, I mean, it can really go both ways, really. I think also we had another speaker called Peggy Nolan. She said she's really old school, where she has said, like, I'm all about having your companies pay for it. And really, it goes both ways. Some companies are willing to do it. Some really want you to take the initiative. They might pay for like the training, or they might pay for the certification. You got to pay for the training yourself. It really it depends on the company, to be honest with you. I've had some companies that were willing to pay for some certifications. Some of them that say they are, but they don't. So it's really up to you. A couple $100 worth you take the certification on your own, just take the initiative ahead of time and just do it yourself, or are you willing to wait for the company to do it for themselves? Because also, I've noticed companies got a budget for it as well. If they're going to pay for $1,000 certification, sometimes they got a budget for it as well, because they say, hey, you and 5 other team members got to get the certification. They got to cough up $5,000 to have you and the team members do it all yourselves, because they want the team members to be certified kind of at the same time. I've noticed that as well. But really depends on the company. And sometimes if the certification is cheap enough and I'm willing to just do it myself, I'll just do it myself. I'll take the initiative myself. I'll just go get it myself. Security Plus, OSEG, a lot of those I got those kind of on my own. I didn't really have to pay for it, but some of them they are willing to pay for it. But really, it's about just talking to your leadership, and also when you're going through the interview process. Hey, are you guys willing to sponsor some certification training? How are you guys on continuing ed certification training? Attending events, things like that. It's really just up to the company and the organization that you interview for, and if they're willing to pay for it. If they're not, sometimes just take the initiative yourself and just get it yourself. To my experience. Yeah, you can get free.
Okay, and you said that website was OSEC, OSEC?
Yeah, OCEGG.com. I'll spell it out. OSEG.com. I'll do it right here. I think it's OCEG. Yeah.
Okay, I see it. Christian, okay, I see it. You posted it. And Kay, I got a course on PCI on Udemy as well for the 4.0.
Yeah, Udemy, Coursera, obviously those are pretty common. Just go, yep. OSEC is the one that I got. I got a couple of certifications from them. I mean, it was pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, at the end, you got to take an exam, but the exam is hands-on pretty much. You can actually, written your notes. You can use your notes in the exam. It's one of the.
It's open book. It's open book.
Yeah, open book. Yeah, like I say it. So yeah, it was pretty easy, not too difficult. But I learned a lot, concepts, and they helped me out a lot when I first got into it. Yeah, OSEC.org. Yep, pretty much. That's one of the ones that I recommend people take. Anybody here can take it. No experience needed at all.
Okay, thank you.
All righty. Final thoughts and Q&A. So do you guys have any questions for me? I know I kind of went through that, but I wanted to make sure you guys were getting a lot out of this, and there's so much information we can talk about in details. Like I said, we have speakers coming on every single week. We have, I think, speakers for the next month lined up. You guys are going to like them a lot. So if you guys stay as consistent as possible in our community, you guys will see a lot of speakers coming on. We got a special one coming next week. I won't spoil that just yet, but yeah, we'll be promoting that one. Yeah, we won't be telling you guys what it is just yet, but we'll be promoting them here coming on Friday. But we got a very big speaker coming on next week.
And everybody probably already knows him, because if you do CompTIA certifications, he's the biggest one for CompTIA.
Yeah, he's the biggest one for CompTIA certifications.
Yeah.
You guys already know him, but
you guys will probably already know him because you guys take his courses already as it is.
Yeah. If you guys done Udemy, you guys may know who he is. Okay, Security Plus certification. Yep.
Yeah, all of them, all CompTIA, every single CompTIA.
Yeah, one last thing is also, if you guys aren't following us on our YouTube, like I said, I post regular content every single week. Our live sessions here are on our YouTube lives as well. So if you guys ever want to go to previous live videos, you guys can go on our YouTube and follow us on YouTube. Obviously, our business profile, if you guys are not following it just yet, I'm on all social media. I got TikTok, I got them all. But if you guys are the other social medias, Instagram, this is what I tell you guys, is putting yourself out there is going to be the biggest opportunity for you to build more connections, build your network. That's Sophia, we did actually. So I think you might have been the one that kind of helped us a little bit, but he'll be on next week. I think you already spoiled it for everybody. But yeah, we're having him and other speakers coming on.
I sent you a direct message, so I didn't.
Okay. Oh, you didn't. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, well, we got a big one coming next week. But yeah, do you guys have any questions for us? I mean, there's a lot of information here, a lot of stuff coming on. You know, we got a lot of speakers coming on, giving you guys a lot of value from frameworks, regulations, certifications, how to set yourself apart in the industry, how to really network, build a network, build your personal brand. Like I mentioned to you guys, how the community works from now on. I mean, really, it's just really every single week. If you go into our school community, I'm not going to show you guys exactly yet, but if you guys are part of our school community, in the calendar, you just jump on our sessions. Or every single week, the day of, I always post a community link if you guys are seeing it. But also, we also post and promote our speakers on LinkedIn as well, which you can join it on our YouTube or on our school community here on the Zoom, like you are now. Okay. If you don't know just yet, you can just follow me on LinkedIn, and I'll show you guys some stuff, or share you my LinkedIn, or follow us on our LinkedIn, and we'll share the speaker posts ahead of time with you. But everybody here, I think, is a part of our school community. For now, we'll send you guys a link. Follow us on our LinkedIn. It's literally my name. But follow us on our YouTube as well. And here's our business page where we post our speakers on our business page as well. So you guys can join. There's so many ways you guys can join the sessions. YouTube is great, or through Zoom, on our business page, on our personal page, or watch it on our YouTube Live every single week. You guys have any other questions for me? Any other slides you guys like me to go back to? I really hope you guys got as much value out of this. Like I said, we got a big speaker coming on next week. We're going to be promoting the heck out of him. So you guys are really going to like him. He's going to be our biggest speaker to date. Besides Kip Boyle, he did great last week, but he's also part of the same. They're in the same business. Similar, right, Caesar? I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, they are.
Yep.
I have a question. I have never actually applied. I mean, my success manager sent some applications while I was in my bootcamp, but I have never actually applied to a corporate job in my life.
Really?
And yes, I always got jobs by word of mouth as a nanny and a caregiver.
That's the best way to do it.
Yep, yes. So, but that being said, I have never in my life written a what is it called? Cover letter.
Oh,
A cover letter.
I don't recommend cover letters. I'll tell you, every single role that I've gotten, never had to do a cover letter once. Nope. It really doesn't make a difference, and it's just more papers to read. Companies just want a nice, clean resume. Like I mentioned to you guys, and if you guys have been part of our past speakers, some of our speakers that we've had recruiters on, and they're the ones that kind of look at the resumes. We're going to have probably potential recruiters in the future as well. But they say no more than 2 pages on the resume. Because remember, even though an automated service goes through your resumes, people have to read that resume as well. And if it's a nice, clean, structured resume that applies to your experience and applies to the role, it's very easy to read it, and they easily understand it. That's the biggest thing. I'll tell you, you're going to have older people read the resumes too. They don't have as good, clear eyes sometimes. So, you know what I mean? You make sure your stuff is organized, it's big and bold, it's separate, it makes sense. Because you don't want scattered resumes. Because one thing too that'll turn you away is a scattered resume. If you don't show that you put effort in that resume, that really makes a big difference. And they show to them you're a beginner. You don't put in your resume your actual experience that applies to the role seriously. So why are we going to even interview you if you're not even going to put effort in your resume? Now, you guys may not even know how to do a resume 100%, but if you do, great. But that's what we're here to help you guys. Make sure you guys get the opportunities come your way. But like I mentioned to you guys before, is like Sophie said, she never really applied or never had to do an interview. Wow, that's great. You never had to do that. Lucky you. But there are people that are in the space that, hey, they just know somebody that knows somebody. Hey, we know you. We know you're a leader in the space. You have a lot of skill sets and value. Why don't you come to our company? We want to give you an opportunity that might align to your skill sets and align to what we need. Here you go. You don't need to do an interview. I mean, that's the easiest way to do it. And that's really what I think we all dream of, you and me. But I've even had to do interviews, multiple interviews. I can't even begin to tell you. Even if it's an opportunity that comes my way, I still got to do an interview. Caesar himself has to do interviews. But literally just building a network, connections, building a community, joining communities, being specific and having direction and understanding all the things that I mentioned to you guys in this live session is building your value, your skill sets, your network, Understand you can't do it all by yourself. Don't think you can do it all by yourself. You might be able to do something by yourself to an extent, but then basically, how far can you get doing it by yourself? You know, you can only get so far. And I've realized I've been able to get farther by having other people guide me and help me in the weaknesses that I have for myself. Because we all have weaknesses. It's about connecting people that can fill in those gaps. Because you have gaps yourself too. You know, there's things that you're probably not very good at. If you're not good at doing interviews, but somebody else is, hey, they can help you with interviews. Hey, if you're great at doing assessments and audits and gap analysis, maybe they don't, but they're good at doing the interviews and the communication and soft skills, and they're confident within themselves, and they know how to present themselves on LinkedIn. Hey, you guys can fill in the gap with each other. That's really what it's all about, and that's how some of these leaders that are in the space get ahead. They don't do it by themselves. They have a team behind them. They have individuals. They network. They have people fill in the gaps in their experience, and they don't know it all, and then they'll never know it all. Nobody knows it all. It's about you just being in the space and understanding your skill sets and value. I'm helping for the same in this field. My network is growing 52. Yeah, 1590 in the last 3 months. Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, I've only been on LinkedIn for about 2 years now. I had zero followers, and I wish I would have known about this networking and all this stuff years ago, because I would have been a lot farther now. But hey, it's better late than never. You know, start building a network, start building your community, and you'll see how far you truly get ahead by knowing somebody than just knowing something. That's really what I've learned myself as well. Yeah, Kay, you can help out with building assessment templates and someone. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's about just connecting. Put your LinkedIn on here, Kay, as well. I don't know if we're connected on LinkedIn or not yet, but here, copy link. We'll give you guys a follow. Cedric, how are you? Sent you a little connection there. But yeah, give us a follow. We'll hope to see you guys on our next session next week for our speaker. Same time, 7:30 Eastern time. And follow us on our YouTube channel. Like I said to you guys, if you guys are now unable to join our sessions here, you guys can also go back to our YouTubes. I'll put it on here real quick for you guys. You guys can follow, watch it. We go live every single week. I create content as consistently as I can, as my time permits. Here's my YouTube here, and we're basically going to show you guys as much as you guys need to know as far as providing value and building your own network and community. Any other questions before we let you guys go? Yeah, Chris. Yeah. No other questions, you guys? No other questions? Last bit of questions before we continue on, and we'll let you guys go for the night. Sophie, I think you said something.
No, I will message you later. But thank you so much, because everything that I've experienced so far is exactly what you're saying. And the most important thing, people think it's knowing stuff, but you're right, it's knowing people that can help you get through.
Yeah, because remember, one of those last thing I gotta tell you guys is you can be super skilled. You can have all the certifications, the degrees, and even the experience. But if you can't work with people, if you're not likable, if you can't build relationship with somebody else and work alongside somebody in the industry, right there, just how your mindset is and how you are as an individual is going to hurt you as well. Remember, you got to be a likable person. You got to be somebody that works well with others. You got to be one to communicate your value and experience to other people as well. Like I said, this matters just as much as everything else you guys are learning in the industry. The certifications, the communities you're joining, the projects and hands-ons you guys have or have been doing, you know, whatever, all the trainings from Udemy, Coursera you guys are doing, all of that is great. You got to be also a likable person that has relationships, has a network, knows how to work with other people as well. It's just as important. This is not really spoken about too much in the industry, sadly, but I wish we spoken about it more. But hey, like I tell you guys, it's better to know this better late than never. Because like I said, you can't do it all by yourself. You got to have a network behind you. You got to have a community behind you. You guys are here, part of the community. You guys saw our posts. You guys are part of our school community. If you guys aren't, hope you guys join it soon. But yeah, we look forward to seeing you guys, grow in your own journey and seeing you guys succeed in your own journey as well. Because remember, if I can do it, if anybody else that has succeeded and landed their roles can do it, you guys can too. It isn't going to be easy. Tell you right off the bat. This is a very challenging, very competitive field. But if you can stand out and make yourself somebody that's the leader in this space, you will have a career that can last you a lifetime. You will have more opportunities than you can ever dream of. But one thing, you got to believe you deserve it. You got to want it. Like I said, don't be discouraged. It is difficult. It is hard and it is discouraging at times, but you got to keep on going because in the end, I don't believe in failure until I quit. When I quit, that is when failure actually settles in. But until you quit, you're just learning. Hey, is another lesson I learned. Hey, is another interview I went through. I didn't get the opportunity, but guess what? I learned a lot from this interview. I understand now what managers are expecting out of my experience. Oh, hey, I went through this community. I didn't know these certain little things about my experience or my background. I got this to add on to my experience, to my belt, whatever it may be. And I believe I deserve this. I'm going to make myself somebody that's going to be a leader in the space. And literally your mindset, your character, and who you are as an individual is going to set you apart from everybody else. Because the majority don't believe they deserve it. They have what I call the imposter syndrome. And yeah, you may have it to some extent. You don't believe you deserve something. But guess what? Everybody here wants something better. It's about how are you going to stand out? How are you going to make it happen for yourself? And how are you going to make it reality and believe that you deserve something better for yourself? Because everybody here wants something more. We all do. Even I do, always the next level. But any other last bit of questions, guys? We're going to let you guys go. Said follow us on our YouTube. If you guys haven't just yet, like I said, I post content every single week. Speakers coming on every single week. Next week's session, 7:30 Eastern time on Wednesday. You guys are ready for that speaker? We're going to promote him. You guys will see it on our LinkedIn profiles, on our business profile. You guys aren't following it. Yeah, it's going to be our biggest speaker today. So we hope to have a lot of people on this one next week. And you guys are going to get a lot of value and help see you guys grow and improve in your own experience and career. Alrighty, guys. Well, have a wonderful night. And we'll catch you guys on our next session. Sophie, you got a question real quick before I let you guys go?
No, thank you. I really
Thank you
appreciate
so
your time.
much.
Yep, you're welcome. Is it Adrivel, your name?
Adrivel.
Yeah.
Oh, Adria, I think you messaged me on the school.
No, you can call me Adri. Adri like Adriana without Anna.
Adri, yeah. I messaged you on school. Yeah, we can have a chat a little later.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very
not a
much,
problem.
Chris. Yeah,
Mhm.
Take
thank you
care,
very much, Chris.
everyone.
Thank you,
welcome.
thank you.
Have a good one.